What's happening, everybody? I'm back, speaking resident supervillain Mr. J. Washington, and I'm here with my review for Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. Now, if you have not seen this film yet, I would advise you to come back because it's going to be spoilers. I got to talk about this in its full depth, and so I didn't want to do this alone, so I brought along someone you see on the videos with me here on the channel, the swaggy blerd, Winston A. Marshall. What's happening, sir?
What's good, man?
How you doing?
I'm good, man. Thank you for having me.
No
Glad to
problem.
be here. Whew.
So,
40 years.
All right, so this movie, first and foremost, is going to be... It's a movie. Say that. It's a movie. I had fun with it. I dug it. This is going to be one of those movies that was similar to what The Last Jedi did. There are people that are going to pitch a bitch no matter what, and there are people that are going to love it no matter what. This movie does have its flaws. This movie does have its perfect moments. This movie makes you laugh. This movie makes you cry. This movie gets you with the action. It makes you a little bit upset. So it does all of these different things. But overall, again, I had fun with it. Your thoughts?
I would say everything that you just said. My big thing that I would say is I think that this was as great of an ending for 9 movies, 40 years that you could possibly ask, honestly.
Yeah.
In the same way that if you go back and look at Endgame, and if you saw a review for that, how much we loved Endgame to the end of the earth.
Right.
I've watched it now multiple times since its release and whatnot. Endgame has a shit ton of flaws. Like, honestly. It is a great movie.
But it has flaws.
But it has flaws. Same thing with this. This is a phenomenal movie. I think, considering how divisive everybody was about The Force Awakens, and especially The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
And the whole idea that there wasn't necessarily... there was this trauma with a lot of people that there wasn't a through line where, like, with the original trilogy, even though other people wrote and directed, it was really Lucas's vision the whole way through. Kind of the same thing with the original trilogy. It has its issues, but it's Lucas the whole way through. There was this concern of, like, there is nobody manning the helm for these 3 series of movies.
Well, here's the thing, and I've told you this numerous times. I've said this off camera to numerous people. I've said it on camera. People got to accept the fact that the original trilogy was so long. It was over 30 years ago when it ended. Mm-hmm. It started in like 78. It ended in the 80s. The original trilogy is 30 years old. Mm-hmm. In that time, characters are going to age. You have to begin cycling.
No, that's fine. Yeah.
You have to begin cycling out characters and cycling in new characters. And the problem is, excuse me, this quote-unquote divisive fan base doesn't want to allow new characters to happen, especially the fact that characters, the main protagonists, are women. Mm-hmm. Now, you can go in these comments and be in your feelings and something, oh, the social justice warriors, shit, blah, 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 but it's the fucking truth.
On top of the fact that, like, don't think of the social justice warrior shit, and the fact that, like, let's be real, half the fucking population is women, dog. So what makes you think that there wouldn't be a woman that'd be out here being a goddamn hero?
Yeah.
Like, people that give shit about Rey and Rose and all that shit, like, come on. You do understand that half the fucking population is women, man.
Now, I get there are flaws to her story that we saw in The Last Jedi, because in The Last Jedi, we all thought we were going to find out her origin to her parents, and that's revealed in this movie. But people...
I mean, this is a spoiler review,
It's a spoiler review, so listen. I told you again, there are spoilers. If you go get mad, that's on you. Okay. Everybody assumed originally she might have been Luke's daughter. She might have been related directly to the Skywalkers.
Or related to Obi-Wan. That
was
a big one as well.
But, I don't know why I got something in my throat. Overall, she's not related to any of them. She is related to Emperor Palpatine. She is his granddaughter. Now, therein lies one of the issues. You brought back Palpatine just to have a safe bet in this movie. There was no reason. I have no problem seeing Ian McDermott on screen. But at the end of the day, you really don't need Palpatine. Because then you try to drive home the story that Palpatine has been pulling the strings this entire time. And by this entire time, meaning from A New Hope to The Rise of Skywalker.
You could say beyond that. You could say from Phantom Menace. If we're really including all 9
yes,
movies,
and once he died, yeah. From Phantom Menace all the way, he's been really pulling the strings the entire time.
Which, that was, like, here's what I would say. I think when you consider how upset everybody was, I think when you consider that they didn't really, again, have a direction of what they wanted to do, I think you had to do something, and I think that there's something to be said if you remember George Lucas is always saying, for him these movies is poetry, it rhymes. I think to be like, the big bad this whole time has been the Emperor, and no one has correctly found a way to get rid of him, I'm okay with that. I actually am, I made peace with that. In the trailer, the minute you heard the Emperor's voice, you're like, all right, this nigga coming back some way, somehow. And that was the whole thing. You find out pretty early on, he's kept alive by the dark side of the Force and technology.
Yeah.
He's essentially Voldemort. He's been like, I've been plotting ways to ultimately live forever and rule all this shit my entire life.
Yeah.
And this was his contingency plan. Anybody that's ever watched Naruto or read Naruto, same thing with Madara. Madara finds himself underground, connected to essentially like a giant tree of life, in order to keep his ass the fuck alive. He cannot leave that dungeon. Same thing that Palpatine wasn't able to leave.
Yeah.
He was stuck on that
He was
planet.
stuck on a thing, yeah. So you had that. Now, that is one of the things. Another issue for me is the story of Finn, John Boyega's character. Now, when we're introduced to him in The Force Awakens, he's a former stormtrooper who joins the Resistance, and you think, okay, is it possible both him and Rey are Jedi? They both have the Force.
He does it multiple times, wields a lightsaber. So you're thinking, oh shit, my
right?
nigga, like, yeah,
you're literally given that. Then in The Last Jedi, we completely go away from that, and he becomes a blundering idiot.
He was a blundering idiot though in the Force.
He
Awakens.
wasn't as much. He was more of an action idiot in Force Awakens as he was in. If you look at the character difference, I get it.
I agree, but it's there because I just rewatched both of these before, and that's the thing. They made it that he was scared, he didn't want to do it, and his whole thing was, I just have to get the fuck away. So he kind of stumbles his way through shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? It does get infinitely worse in The Last Jedi. I agree with you.
And so then when we come back to here with The Rise of Skywalker, now he's headstrong, he's all about it, he's fighting, he's heads up, let's go. He cracks a few jokes, but also one of the main elements that was started, that was in two different things that were started, again, in Force Awakens, is there going to be a budding relationship with Finn and Rey, right? So then we get to The Last Jedi, and all of a sudden we abscond from that and go, is it going to be Finn and Rose? Well, guess what? Because the people on the internet who just want to, for some reason, harass a woman because of her role, which no one deserves that shit, again, come at me, I give zero fucks. Kelly Marie Tran never deserved any of that hate that anybody came to her at all.
That was bullshit.
But then we have...
it was Kelly Tran-Marie.
Kelly Marie Tran.
Are you sure?
Yes, I'm absolutely sure.
Okay, I'm just double checking. I don't because I always thought that was what it was too, and for some reason in my brain I thought I'm gonna double check. Keep talking, it's fine. I just want to make sure.
Okay,
I'm gonna get her name right. That's all.
Then you leave that, and then we get in Rise of Skywalker. We introduce I forgot what's her name, Naomi. What's her name? She plays another character. She basically plays. She's a black woman who plays a new woman who was formerly a stormtrooper as well, who left to join. She left the First Order. She also was kidnapped as a child, which we set up in the beginning too. It's like you're doing three different relationships. Like, where's the payoff? At one point in the movie, in Rise, Naomi Aki, yes, she plays Jana. That's the woman I'm talking about. But you have a point where Finn even says, I have something I gotta tell you, Rey. And this is that heartfelt, emotional, this is more than likely that I love you moment. Because a lot of people say it might have been, I think I have the Force. I don't think it's that. I think it's the I love you moment. But the thing is, we never deliver on it. We go away from it. Now also, Finn does tease using the Force in this movie more. He doesn't use it directly to move things.
But he senses shit like a motherfucker.
He senses shit consistently throughout this. Again, there are a lot of things. Again, I still had fun with the movie. I had fun with it.
Well, and what they did, and I give Abrams credit, I think that there was a firestorm that came from Last Jedi. There were so many people that were so anti it. There's a small part of me that hates that fans were so on it that it forced his hand that he had to address some things.
Which, by the way, that is something. I'm glad you did that. Let's talk about this. Fan service. Stop that shit to all directors. I don't care how much a fandom, whether it be Star Wars, Star Trek, Marvel, DC, whatever, bitches and complains about a film or something they did not like, stop doing fan service.
Well, I wouldn't call that fan service.
Or, no, I'm just using that as an example.
No, but I get it. I guess because I slightly disagree in that I don't have a problem with fan service as far as, like, for example, having a little A-Force moment in Endgame. That's a fan service moment because nobody was asking for that, but everybody is aware that all the women were there to potentially have that moment. That's a fan service. Or Avengers Assemble. That's a fan service moment.
Well, I wouldn't consider Avengers Assemble a fan service moment because it's been leading up to it since the first Avengers movie.
But I get it. But to hold it for that moment and all that, you know what I'm saying? Like Captain America, I know we teased him maybe being able to use Mjolnir, but that was also a fan service moment from a comic when he was
But I don't think. See, I think the difference is where we're talking about fan service is shit that people have complained about on the internet then has been addressed.
Well,
I think that's the difference.
We have different definitions.
Yeah, because you're using the fan service as in, hey, you know this story, here's something from it. That's what you kind of expect when we're talking comic books and certain things that have lore and stuff like that. Yeah, I'm with that.
What I'm saying is don't acknowledge fan complaints. That's
okay.
More
that's more what we should say. Mm-hmm. Because there were so many fan complaints that, again, they were addressing, and they did them to just address it in the film real quick. And when they do them, it doesn't work.
That would be my thing. Unless they agree, which is fine, don't let Billy Joe Bob from fucking, Buffalo be up in your ass so much that you're like, you know what, we gotta come up with an excuse for why
16-year-old Nicholas who fucking hides under a fake avatar and all of a sudden says hateful shit out of his mom's basement because he consistently does that, and he gets a bunch of other Nicholases who agree with him. Now you want to answer that. Don't do that.
Right.
Again, I felt like J.J. Abrams had a lot of pressure on him no matter what was going to happen with this movie. Again, I will consistently say, I had fun with it.
I honestly love the movie. There are things that we're going to have to come to at one point. Like, there was one thing we discussed when we got out that I really appreciated. So the fact that Naomi, who plays, what was her name? Jana. The fact that she also happens to be black. And a lot of the other stormtroopers that left, and they're living on this planet by themselves, all happen to be, a lot of them are minorities. I found it very interesting as an allegory that the Empire's been going out, stealing babies, and forcing them to be stormtroopers, right? That's a lot of whether J.J. Abrams meant to do this on purpose or not, there's a big thing that happens where the military here in America will go to poor neighborhoods, will go to minority-filled neighborhoods and convince them to join the military so they can make a life out of themselves, whatever, and they become a cog in the system one way or the other. Now, that's not a knock in any way, shape, or form to any of the servicemen, but there is statistical numbers that you will go and recruit people that don't necessarily have something that's like, that they have directly to live for. If you don't come from money, if you don't come from like societal fame or whatever, that they will go after those people because it's like you can make something after yourself. I thought that was very interesting for these people to be like, you know what, I'm not going to be a part of this war racketeering. I'm not going to be a part of whatever. I thought that was very interesting for them to kind of give a little nod and homage to that. But it's not a knock on service. It's just how recruiting happens. I thought it was very interesting to have a little moment like that where you're not making it a hit you over the head shit, but it's a thing.
And again, like you just said, it may have been completely by accident, and then you have a lot of different things that myself, you, other people as well, we read more into than what it is, and it happens numerous of times. Many times I've seen people have reviews and break something down, and they're like, "Well, this is what it meant," and then the director and the writer, they're like, we didn't mean that at all. Like you did that. Also, when I talk about fan service, now on the internet, people were going back and forth if we were going to ship Kylo Ren and Rey. They were doing this Reylo shit. And people were like, do it, don't do it. Do it, don't do it. You get it, but you don't get it. Again, fan service. There is a moment where they literally share a kiss, and then Kylo Ren basically dies.
Well, he's Ben at this point. He's back to Ben Solo.
He's Ben Solo. So, yeah. So now people just say, oh, it's not... It's Reylo still because it's, still Solo. But it's a fan service thing. And the way the death happens immediately after this kiss is like, that was pointless.
I guess I get it. It's an acknowledgement, but I wasn't feeling that. Like, I thought that...
and that's what I'm saying.
There was a tension between them, but to me... It still didn't necessarily feel like a romance as much as it was like a mutual love and respect for each other as like, we're gonna like...
No, they had the tender moment with the heads, the hands. They had this moment. And again, the problem with that is you set up, in a sense, potentially, Rey with Finn. Now, I could get the adversaries thing. And potentially, are we related? I get that. The mutual respect, I get that as well. But you do this whole quick moment for what?
And I guess the idea, and this is something that they've been alluding to from Last Jedi into this, well, the whole way through, there's this weird thing that there's a bond between them that you can't really figure out. And the idea that they're ultimately getting to is that the difference between Palpatine and these two is that Palpatine, even though he's like, I have all the Sith with me, like he's by himself, whereas they're like, no, we're actually together, we're actually a unit, we actually have family that are supporting us, and that's the idea, is the two of them became one. I get that. But, like, what's not appropriate, and already we noticed this, we were talking to some of our colleagues outside of the thing, people started laughing at the kiss because it was such an inappropriate time for it to happen. They literally kissed and he died. And everybody's like, oh!
Because that's what I'm saying. And again, that's why I say certain moments that are placed in that don't, because you're laughing at them like, are you serious?
I just got a vibe from them that felt more, it seemed like a nod a lot to the Solo twins in the Young Jedi Knight series books. They felt to me, and even like Luke and Leia, there was this weird thing where the two of them felt like almost just twins. There's a bond between them.
So listen to what.
So that the kiss sound. I agree. Yeah. That's why I think the kiss was inappropriate. You know what I'm saying?
It makes it real awkward. Then let's go to speaking of another kiss. Now here's a small moment in the film you may have missed, but guess what? I promise you, by the time you see this, the internet will have seen it and will make a big uproar. When they save the day, when the galaxy is saved, when the final order and the Empire, whatever you want to call them, are completely defeated, everyone comes back to celebrate, right? Everyone's hugging, they're embracing, and two women share a kiss for a moment. Here's going to be the problem, and let's just call it for what it is. It's going to be idiots on the internet going to be like, oh, see, look at them pushing an agenda to show why we got to have this in our films, why they got to see two women kiss. Like, yo, fucking stop. Yes, I'm going to address it. You know why? Because it always happens in stuff like this. Here's the thing y'all need to realize. We're talking about a movie where people live amongst fucking aliens. Aliens. And your issue, because I guarantee, I said it in the theater, I sat it next to colleagues, and they literally looked at me and was like, you are absolutely right. Because I laughed when it happened. Yes, I laughed. And it was like, why did you laugh? Because I was like, I know the internet's finna have this stupid ass moment over this.
My only complaint with it was the fact that, like, I get that the whole idea is that it should just be very commonplace that gay people, lesbians, straight people, whatever, that just when they share moments of intimacy, it shouldn't be a big deal. I think what was so random about it is there was this weird element of just like, well, let's throw a lesbian kiss. And like, it'll be good. Like, we'll throw some queer inclusion. I would have liked, because you had been seeing those two characters.
You had been seeing build up to the movie.
If I had seen even a moment where they were scared and looked at each other, or they maybe flirted a little, something.
I agree on that. Now, I agree on that.
Then it wouldn't have felt like it came out of nowhere.
If you built that up, then that's fine.
I'm great with
that. That's fine. But again, I know it's like, I'm going back to it, the kiss happens nonetheless.
Yeah.
Nonetheless.
And there should be nothing wrong with it at all.
I
want that.
Any romantic moment should be built up and earned.
Right.
No matter who it is.
Right.
I feel like any no matter what.
I think what was weird about it too is, and why people are going to point at that particularly, because there were embraces, but nobody else was like kissing or nothing. So people are just going to, just for, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It would be one thing if like everybody's getting some, it wouldn't have, again, been a big deal.
And of course, this is the point of the video where people probably are clicking the thumbs down. This is the part of the video where people typing angry comments and all this. And guess what? I don't give a shit, because I need to address this, because it's absurd that we have to address it.
Yeah, I agree.
It is absurd because it's going to happen. And people say, well, why would you bring it up? You just giving them blah, blah, blah. It's not the case. People are going to do it because people are doing dumb shit, getting mad over the simplest of shit that has no reason to be getting mad.
Right.
Again, it is a movie where people who are humans, that we technically, I guess they are humans. We don't even classify a lot of them as humans, though. We don't. When you think about it,
they're human.
Okay. Just want to make sure.
They just don't speak English. They speak basic.
That's what it is. Got you. But nonetheless, it's fucking aliens with them. Aliens that they understand an alien's language like nothing. Remember, none of us understand R2, BB-8, Chewie. But everybody else does. So if that little small thing can go and we have no issues with it, there are no subtitles, there are no nothing. A kiss should not be a big deal. And yes, I'm making a moment out of it because yes, I know how the internet gets. Yes, I work on the internet. Yes, he works on the internet. Yes, we see this shit all the time, whether it be in our comments in other videos we are on, from other networks we are on, comments that come through Twitter or Facebook. We know what this is.
Yeah.
And no one, I know for a fact, there are going to be very, very few people to address it and sit there and they're going to try to baby around it so they don't have to hurt people's feelings. I'm not trying to hurt your feelings. I'm just trying to tell you it's fucking dumb.
I really hope that doesn't. I know that you're probably right. There are going to be people that are going to be bitching about it, and I hope that that's not what happens. But I also, like I said, like anything else, I want it to be just commonplace so it's not an issue. But I also want shit to not be. What I don't want is I also don't want it to be a tokenized thing.
Yeah, don't be tokenized and don't shoehorn it
That
in.
was my issue with it, is that it felt tokenized.
Okay, that's fair.
That is my only complaint.
That's very fair.
And I was trying to find the proper words to say it, and that's the easiest way to say it. But the last thing that I will say, and because I'm sure we should probably wrap this up, what I do appreciate, whether it was done properly or not throughout, I felt like at least our main players, we got a lot more character development to kind of wrap stuff up. I thought that was really nice. I thought that the nod to Poe again being like, you know what? Maybe I'm not a leader. Maybe I do need friends.
Also, shout out to the Knights of Ren looking like they about to drop the dopest mixtape ever.
They did look like they were going to drop a fire-ass mixtape.
Just want to say.
I also like the fact that we kept getting clues to little stuff. If you remember, every time their bond would happen, stuff would start disappearing from one end to the other.
Yeah.
So my favorite moment had to be when she's sitting here ready to strike the Emperor. She puts the shit behind her back, and Ben fucking pulls the lightsaber out because they're able to transport items to each other.
Okay.
That was fire.
I ain't gonna lie. That was a fire moment. Also, there's another fire moment real quick before we get up out of here.
Yeah.
There's a part where Rey is trying to stop a transport ship using the Force like she is fucking Magneto, which I was like, okay. And then here comes Kylo Ren trying to pull it away from her. And at one point, Rey is like, fuck this shit, and lightning comes out her hands. And let me tell you something. I watched this movie twice back to back, and I watched his face when it happened. This dude's face was like...
Well, because at the time, you think Chewie is on that transport. So you literally thought they just murdered Chewie. Oh, my nigga, that was the other thing. He said this, and I was exactly how I felt. Every time Chewie lost one of his friends...
Oh, Jesus, real quick. So they come back from doing a mission, and Leia has given her life, the last of her energy, to help Rey defeat Kylo to turn him back to Ben Solo, basically. And when Chewie is told that Leia's gone, the breakdown that Chewie has, he goes... No, he did the whole... Let me tell you something. Have you ever seen a black mama get told that a relative or a child has died? That is the way Chewie went.
Oh, the gift of Jennifer Lewis with all the church ladies. Oh, sweet
Jesus.
Like, it was bad, man. So shouts to Chewie. But okay, let's wrap it up, man. What do you got? So
overall, like I said, I had fun with this movie. If I have to give it a scale of 1 to 5 stars, I'll give it about a 3.5 or 4 because I know what it is. It wrapped up the story. Granted, there are some open ends, and it also still has open things because we're going to a new story behind that. So that's my thoughts.
I'm going to give it actually a 4.5, man. I actually really enjoyed this movie. Like I said, you have a lot to try and wrap up here. Was everything done well? No. But it did all the important stuff properly. And if you were going to go the route of being an Emperor, I thought they did a great job of like finding a way to do that. It would have been interesting to see it maybe go a different direction. But I'm actually okay with what they did. I thought that they did a really good job. And there's little nods to Knights of the Old Republic. There's little nods to Rebel. All sorts of little shit here and there. Which was also cool to try and bring the whole universe together in this final epic movie.
Well, that's what our thoughts are on the film. We want to know your thoughts in the comments below. Like, subscribe, click on the notification bell. Did you rock with this movie? Did you not? And please, if you have a real reason that you did not rock with it, let it make sense. Look, things we know. Lucas doesn't have it. Disney, Kennedy, all of them have it going forward. Blah, 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 blah. Follow me Twitter, Instagram at Mr. J. Washington. You should know how to spell it. Join the Supervillain Squad, patreon.com/Mr. J. Wash. Check out the Mad Titan podcast everywhere you get your podcast from. Where can they find you?
You can find me at the Swaggy Blerd, TheSwaggyBlerd. That's YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Letterboxd. I've been doing Letterboxd for a while, but I didn't even think to promote that to people. But yeah, I do put small reviews on there and whatnot, stuff you should check out. So definitely check out on that.
Yo, I do personalized messages on Cameo. Yo, you can get me to do birthday shout-outs, greetings, all that stuff. So go to cameo.com/Mr. J. Washington, and I'll do all that. But thank you guys for watching. Again, we told y'all this was going to be spoilers. It was a lot to talk about. Holla at you later. I'm out here. Peace.